Nice to meet you all. My name is Anna Esaki-Smith. I'm an independent researcher for Education Rethink, and I'm also a writer for Forbes magazine. I cover a lot of international education trends. I worked at the British Council in Hong Kong. I recruited international students for UC Berkeley, so I'm very familiar with it. I thought maybe before we hear from President Fujii and Miles about the new college that you need some context about why the school is happening. And just a quick note of thanks to President Fujii for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you all. I'm talking about international higher education's silent emergency, which is what really is driving a lot of what's going on with student mobility. So I'm going to focus a bit on Japan, then about how demographics are shaping student mobility, and then we'll have the update from the University of Tokyo. So we're talking about the challenges that Japan is facing. There was a New York Times story very recently about how Japan has lost 3 million people in 5 years. I mean, it's unprecedented, the drop, various reasons why. In 2024, 2025, a record low number of births. I think they had a slight rebound recently, but record low. The population declined by 900,000. And at the time, the Prime Minister Ishiba described this drop as a silent emergency, meaning it's happening as we live and breathe. Nobody really, you don't see it, but it is happening. The population stood at 123 million in 2025, which is down from 126.1 in 2020. I mean, the fall is really quite sobering. And that's the lowest, that's the biggest decrease since they started collecting the data in 1920, so unprecedented. If you go to Tokyo or Kyoto, Osaka, you think there are a lot of people in these cities, but it's the number of young people who are going to the cities. That's the population density of Tokyo and sort of the rest of Japan. So if you go about an hour outside of Tokyo, you really will feel the decline in the population. Americans are sort of obsessed with the old houses that you can buy for $10,000. It's all over social media because the houses have been deserted. Population, the peak was in 2008, 128.1 million, and the decline will be precipitous from, we're in the decline right now. Projection by 2030, it will be 119.1, and then 2100, I mean, we'll all be dead, but it will be 59 million. I mean, it really, if things go the way that it's going. Elementary and junior high school students, similar pattern, decline. The United States is also experiencing this, the demographic decline. Fewer high school students, fewer junior high school students means fewer college students. So it's happening around the world. I mean, this is not unique to Japan, but it's because Japan's decline is so significant that all eyes are on Japan, also Korea, also Italy. Those are the countries that people are looking at. Low birth rate, a crisis for not just for the country, but particularly for Japan's universities, because fewer high school graduates, and not all the graduates in Japan go to university. I mean, and in the United States, a large number are going into the trades. They're learning how to become electricians, carpenters. These are all jobs that will not be replaced by AI. So there's a great deal of interest in those fields. So I want to ask, what happens to a society with an aging population? So there are labor shortages and productivity decline, rising dependency ratios, meaning fewer young people are entering the workforce, more retirees are depending on pensions and healthcare, the innovation falls, which I think is key to an economic growth. The economy shifts from to service industries like healthcare, elder care, and people don't want to buy houses, less consumption, so the economy, as you mentioned, the consumption declines. So these are all of the negative impacts of an aging society. So these are really critical to a country's well-being. And as you mentioned, the GDP growth also cannot thrive with this kind of situation because of all the those elements that we talked about. And it's funny about the wages, that the Japanese salaries are so low. There are a lot of reasons for that, but part of it is because of the aging population. A lot of older people are working past retirement. They do not want to protest. They just want to earn the salaries as they get older. So there's and a lot of young people are working part-time jobs. So they actually think, though, because of the aging population and there are fewer workers, maybe they will get paid more because companies need to attract those workers. But up until now, the inflation is greater than the growth in wages. So this contributes also to the sluggish economic growth. Okay, let's talk about Korea. Korea is sinking tremendously. And I want to talk about it's called a replacement fertility rate. For a population to remain stable, you need to have 2.1 births per woman. You replace the dad, you replace the mom, and for the children unfortunately dying, you need the 0.1. Korea is 0.7. 0.7. Does anybody know what Japan is? What is Japan's fertility replacement rate? Do you know? I can see that you're thinking. What do you think it is? Around 1. Anybody else? 2.1 is what you need to. Yeah, it's 1.2. But it's been below 2.1 for 50 years. Japan has been below for 50 years. So it's not a sudden decline. So this is Korea. Number of Korean children falling. That's the population growth. This is a bit old, 2021, but it's not getting better. It's only getting worse in Korea. Germany, too. Huge population decline in Germany. So you don't even think about Europe when you're talking about population decline. But Western Europe, East Europe across the board is declining. They're going to shrink by 10 million people by 2050. So it's a huge challenge for Germany. So what government policies might encourage more births? If you know what the challenges are in Japan, maybe some women in the audience can answer this question. Why aren't Japanese women having children? Mommy has to do everything, which is not a great policy for Japan, I don't think. Mommy has to do everything. I think Japan has tried. They've had cash bonuses with each child allowance payments. Cities subsidize childbirth. They're making some steps to address what you're talking about, et cetera, tuition discounts. They've also had incentives for marriage. I don't know if you knew, the government ran a matchmaking service, kind of a Tinder of Japan. Yes, really. Cash gifts for registering a marriage, newlywed payments for rent. So trying to get more young people to get married. But the result has been this. The young people are not getting married. Young people in America are also not really getting married, but it is really kind of a problem in Japan. Japan recorded its lowest number of marriages in 90 years, fewer than 500,000 couples. And they're calling it a marriage ice age, which is sort of an interesting term. The Japanese always have these cool ways to describe things. A silent emergency, marriage ice age. But it's a serious problem. So how can a country make up for a shrinking population? Well, let's see what Korea is doing. They're recruiting international students. 300,000, record high number of international students for Korea, which is a very small country with a limited number of, it helps, the pop culture helps, all the BTS, all that's helping, but they are actively recruiting international students. Germany is recruiting international students. That declining population in Germany, they are also focusing on and like Japan, they have free tuition or very low tuition, so they're getting a lot of international students, and not just from Europe. They're getting international students from China, from India, et cetera. And then in Japan as well. Japan is also doing the same. So I guess my point is Japan's not alone in contending with the challenges of not having enough international students, not having enough population growth. The foreign population has grown tremendously in Japan, which is, as you all know, resulted in some political rumblings in Japan with regards to immigration policies. Foreign nationals make up 2.8%. I think it might even be a bit higher. Some government officials believe that could be more than 10%. Originally, they thought it would be by 2070, but something will happen very soon. This kind of growth to 10% of Japan will be on international people. And already, the government had set a goal to have 400,000 international students by 2033. There were 336,000, 2024. They hit the record, they hit the goal 8 years early. 435,000 June last year, and the original goal was to have that by 2033. So whether that's Japan making the effort or that's student interest in Japan, I'm not sure. I think it's a combination of both. So what's next for international higher education? And I think that's sort of the lead into the College of Design and maybe how the University of Tokyo is going to help amend or address these challenges. So, thank you.
In response to Anna's presentation, I have a couple of, concerns around the Japanese social system. For example, the young ladies don't like so much to have kids, or also not that many international students can have access to the job themselves so far. So that is so heavily due to the kind of inflexibility of in time for the careers of the young people. So that normally Japan's industry, big industry so far, the hiring people year by year and class by class, and it's a rigid system of such kind of age slice. And that is also affecting so much of the inflexibility of the people's, especially for example, international students or the lady or female students, and also for us, doctoral students too. So that in that sense, we will need to have some more flexible society. But anyways, so that is also one thing I wanted to mention. But then for the international education, and not only for the international education, so we want to make or nurture these change makers for the 21st century. So then a change maker should change those kind of social systems in Japan too. So, well, so this building is in fact the building that we won, or we are now renovating, and then this new college will be accommodated. And the name of the college is UTokyo College of Design. And this is to nurture those change makers in the 21st century. And then also we want to make an international environment for learning. And just having a look at the kind of global situation, then so it is not only aging society, but also we have this climate change, pandemics, and plastic waste problems, and many other issues, which is at the global scale. And so there's an emergence of these high-performance AIs. And these are the generative AIs, but not only these. So it's, for example, AlphaFold made a kind of huge impact over this medical sciences, and especially for the drug development. Then, so what's the role of the university in this situation? And then we have, in fact, at UTokyo, we have 15 graduate schools, 10 faculties, and 11 research institutes. But none of these single discipline will solve those complex problems that we are, the humanity, facing. So because all of these issues are like the different types of reasons or the phenomena, so intertwined and then making these kind of complex problems. So that we need to think about how those young talent can transcend the traditional academic disciplines. So we need to put down those barriers in between for example, law, economy, science, engineering, all of these disciplines. So that is why we need this new concept of design as an expertise with which we could combine the different types of skills and knowledges from each of the disciplines that are required to solve those problems. And then with this design expertise, the students could integrate those knowledge and skills into a form that they could, for example, realize their vision or their initiative. And then those initiatives or projects should be also focused over these issues. But then from the viewpoint of, for example, the citizens or users or each of the individuals, then that is really a kind of observing the individual's behavior is a very important aspect of the design expertise itself. So that combining all of these things, we want to nurture the change makers in the next, or in the 21st century. And on top of it, so to do this, it's so important for us or for them to have a diverse viewpoints. For that, we definitely need international environment, and they're in Tokyo. And then we want to basically mix the Japanese students who's entering into this college from Japan and also international students, mix them together, then they learn from each other. And so to do that, we make all the classes will be taught in English, and also the college itself is a fall semester entry, so that we could easily attract international students to UTokyo. And this is, in fact, a 5-year integrated program, so bachelor's, master's program, so that after graduation from high school, they could achieve master's degree in the 5-year program. From here, I will switch to the Professor Miles Pennington, who is the prospective dean of this new college. Yes.
Thank you very much. Let me explain a little bit about the kind of nuts and bolts of how we're going to deliver this grand vision, this new concept in education, hopefully to solve some of the problems that Anna has also pointed out. So excuse me if I get a little bit excited about curriculum detail, but that's my thing. So Fujii Sensei talked about our students needing different perspectives and wide perspectives. And the fact that at the university we have many faculties and different grad schools and research institutes. So the first thing that we're going to do to our students in the first year is expose them to the wide spectrum of knowledge at the university. They're going to see what engineering does, what medical school does, what the humanities department does. This isn't about a fundamental knowledge build-up, but rather opening their eyes to the full spectrum of knowledge that happens, or teaching that happens at the university, get them excited about disciplines they've never thought about in the past. That's going to be quite intense, but in the second and third years and beyond, they're then going to be able to select the classes that they're interested in, to follow their own curiosity. So maybe they're taking a class in philosophy, alongside one about machine learning, next to one about public health, something next to Japanese literature. They can put together their own learning journey, and this is a really important part of the curriculum. It's like a liberal arts program wrapped around the spine of design. So we're trying to use design as the tool for social change. We're not trying to teach design like, here's industrial design, please design an electronic product. Here's a speculative design, let's think about the future. We're trying to teach design as an instrument to come up with solutions for different social issues. So again, in the first year of the program, we're introducing many thinking methods of design and many hands-on skill methods of design. We have Hibino Sensei from Geidai here today, who knows very well about how to teach design and the difficulties of it. Our students are not going to be as experts as Geidai students, but we want them to tackle, maybe they're tackling a climate change problem, and the solution could be a product, but the solution could also be a new policy. So we want them to have the tools in their belt to pull out and tackle problems and create solutions in different ways for different problems. So we're teaching many methods of design. In the second and third year, I think things start to get really exciting. This is where we introduce what we call change maker projects. So each project could have a meta theme like future of energy or education or equity. The themes, again, the students pick their own topics that they're interested in. and use design to create solutions to those problems. In detail, how we're trying to construct these projects is, of course, we have a social issue. We set the issue at first. Then we find an external partner. Could be a company that's interested in that topic, or a governmental organization, NPO, or a charity. It's really important that the students have external input into these projects. So they're not seen as academic research projects, they're real-world solution-finding projects. So that external collaboration is incredibly important to the college. We teach them about design. 1 year is not long enough, so second and third year we're still trying to improve their design abilities. We really want to borrow from the conventional design school the mindset that it's no good just to understand something. It's no good even just to have an idea about something. You have to make it real. You have to really get it out there, test it with people, and see if your ideas are actually correct. And those three things make up the project, as well as the classes that the students are studying. So maybe from that philosophy class, they bring a new thinking around how to change public health. So every student's journey will be different, every solution will be different. This is a slide that's talking about the social connection. So just to reiterate, we don't want the course to work inside the academic bubble. We want experts coming in to advise the students about projects, whether it's from companies or governments or other design agencies. And in addition, we want the students to go away, to get off campus, at least for one semester, if not for a whole year. We're putting together at the moment an internship program. So over 70 companies have signed an expression of interest that says, yes, we'll take one of your students. Our goal is that the students see what happens outside of academia. Maybe many of them have spent their entire lives either in school or at university. I don't like using the word real world, but we want them to see what happens outside, how companies tackle issues, how companies exist, how things happen outside of the academic research environment. When they come back from that, it's over to them. They are now independent learners. We want them to do 2 graduation projects, one as a group, one as a solo. In these projects, they're not following one professor's lead, but rather listening to many different opinions from inside the university and outside the university. The goal is that they decide the right direction forward. They become independent, self-determined change makers. And we finish the whole program with an exhibition. So again, very different for the University of Tokyo. They'll have an exam where they'll have to defend their work to the faculty members. And then the next day, we open to the public, and they have to defend their work to the public, which is probably even more challenging than the faculty. This is the building that we're hoping to be in. So we're on Asano campus in UTokyo. It's just next door to Hongo campus, the main headquarters. It's an ICT building at the moment, but we'll hopefully refurbish it. Again, the goal is to connect with the public. So the first floor will have an exhibition space. And we want to put on work by the students so that people can see what the college is working on. As you walk through the exhibition space, you come to a symposium area. So again, we want lectures or seminars happening where general public and the university can come in and try to understand what is happening in the College of Design. And this is really where the main magic happens, the studio. So second and third floor will be studio environments. Faculty, visitors will talk to the students in this environment. Students will work together to create their work in this one space. It's not just a place to do their work, it's a place to exchange opinions, have accidental discoveries, and really make things come to life. This is very normal for an art and design school, but very different environment for a comprehensive university. When they finished, where do they go? So we're often asked, what kind of job will our graduates have? There is no one particular discipline type of job that our graduates will work in. We're not creating mechanical engineers that will work in production. We're not creating lawyers that will work in law companies. What we say is we have 100 students every year. Every one of them will go through a different pathway, so 100 different pathways, therefore 100 different transformations. I don't doubt some will work in the public sector, in government, NPOs or NGOs, maybe more so than currently. We're hoping, of course, people join corporations, but not in the classic graduate training programs, but in new sectors or new groups that are exploring new businesses or how to engage with social issues for the company's benefit. We also expect them to start their own company, so be much more entrepreneurial, not in the sense of just starting a company for that sake, but rather they have a passion. They created something at college, they want to make it happen on their own. So, the college, we have many bits and bobs to work out for the college, but I'll hand back to Fujii Sensei to close up.
Yes. So, and then, so this new college will be launched in fall next year, and so we are starting the call for application from this fall, and so then the next year will be the 150th anniversary of our university itself, and also. Again, in response to Anna's presentation, so in Japan, due to this decline of the population, especially younger age, the government policy is tending to shrink the capacity of undergrad of the whole universities. But I mean, rather than doing it, we would like to attract those international students by having this kind of new program in Tokyo. So the motto of this college is to see the world through design, then change it. This then change it is a very important part of this motto. So that by having these taking these new programs, they could. So we want to nurture the real change makers in the future. Thank you so much for your attention.
So after these presentations, there's a lot of information that was shared. I thought I would ask a few questions to President Fujii and also Miles Pennington about the school and trends. Big question, why not a school of engineering? I mean, in your background in engineering, University of Tokyo is renowned for engineering because of AI, tech, so many young people are interested in engineering.
Right.
Why design?
So yes, so there's a sort of historical reason and also some sort of sequence of, thinking to come to this idea, because in the year 10 years ago, 2015, I became the director of the Institute of Industrial Science, which is covering almost all the areas of engineering. And at that time, all these digital tools came up. Then we had to think about how we could revolutionize the manufacturing itself. And that is so-called fourth industrial revolution at that time. But then, so in this institute, we were thinking about the future of manufacturing itself. And then, in fact, this institute is very active in the environmental science and engineering itself. That is because in the 70s, there was a huge problem in Japan of all this pollution of the coming out from the manufacturing site, especially all these chemicals and so on. And then, so they started at that time all these environmental sciences in the institute. And then that is have grown to the environmental, for the global scale, the environmental science and engineering, and also all these sustainability type of research works. And then they are very active. But then that is more for the sort of downstream of the engineering itself. Then what we thought was, what about upstream of engineering? So we studying so much about how to make things, but we didn't think about what to make. And then what kind of things should be made. This is a very important part of this engineering expertise. So then that is a starting point of the design is a very important. I mean, idea of design is very important that we thought. And then maybe after a couple of years since, so the Miles joined that institute, and then so we discussed about how to expand this idea, not only in the field of engineering, but also for the whole university. And then at the time of this, discussion around the new education program, then so design could be not only for the products or for the goods, but all physical goods, but for the everything like a policy or systems, international rules, and everything needs the right design. So then that's why we not only, confining this idea of design into the engineering field, but also for the whole, society.
Yeah. Part of the whole ecosystem.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly. Right.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah,
that was
the idea.
Very interesting context.
Right.
Along those lines, though, Miles, I have to say the modern university has been built around disciplines, but this new faculty seems to be based a little bit about problem solving. There were a lot of, you mentioned climate change, social media addiction, et cetera. How would you respond to criticism that maybe this is broad and shallow versus University of Tokyo, which tends to be focused and deep in terms of academic study?
Yes, it's a question we're often asked, like, what's the speciality of your students? What will they become experts in? And how I answer that is their expertise is the breadth, not the depth. That actually it takes a rigor, and it is a huge challenge to have the capability of being a true connecting bridge across different disciplines and knowing how to talk to different disciplines and which elements of knowledge to bring back to your problem and help you make a solution. That in itself is an expertise, like how to have this wide spectrum of coverage. So I say their depth is in their breadth. And I know that's contrary to many, it's really important in some disciplines that we have the depth, that we dig deeper and we, extend the frontiers of knowledge. We're trying to do something different. We're trying to extract that knowledge and make it valuable to society in different ways. And we can't do that without having coverage across many disciplines.
And because of that, can I ask, how would the profile of this student differ from maybe the traditional University of Tokyo student? What would be, I know that there'll be many different types of students, half will be Japanese, half will be international, but if you were to pick certain characteristics that you're looking for, because I believe that the admissions process will be holistic.
That's true, yeah.
What types of characteristics would you be looking for?
Well, I always say curiosity is one of the main characteristics, and maybe in the first year's pioneering spirit, because it's going to be a new program. So when we started promotion events, we were expecting, and in the early days, a lot of people interested in design would come to them. But I think we're better at communicating now what the college is really about, solving social issues, having wide interdisciplinary engagement. And it's less, and we're not trying to be another design school. There are many great design schools out there. So what we find now, people coming to the promotion events are young people with a true passion about changing the communities or the societies they're in. And I find that surprising, because when I was 18, I don't think I had any clue about those sorts of things. But those people are out there. So that are now the people we're trying to find, the people who are really driven to make change. They want to know how to make change, and hopefully the program will be the place they can come and do it.
Yeah, of course. What a great opportunity for these students. Maybe I can pose a question to both of you based a little bit on my presentation about so much competition for international students, not just the US and the UK, which are actually declining in numbers, talking about South Korea, Germany, France, Greece, all these countries with declining populations who are trying to get international students. What can Japan offer an international student, besides cost? I know that University of Tokyo is very inexpensive, that maybe the UK, Miles are from the UK, or from other countries, what are the unique value, the selling points of Japan? Besides, and I don't want to hear sushi, anime, manga. That's tired, and you can get pretty good sushi in New York.
Yeah. But starting with manga as
okay, if we must.
In other place, but yeah, that is. The Japan's unique feature is kind of very kind of familiarity to the cutting edge technologies like robotics and AI. Those in the kind of Western countries like make some also kind of scared thing stuff like the robotics. It's not a Frankenstein in Japan, so it is more like a Doraemon or Atom, right?
Yeah.
So that it's so basically those technologies will help humans. So that is also one thing. It's the attitude to the new things are somewhat different, and also attitude to nature is also somewhat different that I think. So that this culture is so important for the people who are studying.
What do you mean attitude towards nature? What does that mean?
Like for example, if you take this development of the area in the natural environment, and Japan's way is basically trying to harmonize the people's life with nature, right? Not like open up the whole area, then put the like a huge skyscrapers like
data centers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that it's that's somewhat a little different. So then also if you think about this, for example, Ise Jingu, Ise Shrine. So they are like every 20 years they are basically making new ones and then replacing the whole materials from the forest. And that is also like keep the condition of the forest in the good condition. So like this way, it's a kind of a unique feature of, but not only in Japan, but maybe
No, but
East
I
Asian,
agree that it's sustainability
right.
and
So that yes, in sustainability meaning. So that like this way, it's so important for the students from outside Japan to come to Tokyo and then spend 4 or 5 years, and that will make them understand such kind of Japanese kind of taste or culture. So that is quite unique.
It's a very good point that the nature bit of Japan, I think people don't focus on as much. I spoke to an Indonesian student who's studying in Japan, and he loved the fact that he could drink the water from the tap, and it was clear and delicious.
Right. Yes.
So it's a pretty basic thing that they don't have at home. So it's a great point.
Yeah.
Miles, you were trained entirely in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. What do you think that Japan can give a student that the UK might not?
Well, actually, I think it's building on what Fujii Sensei just said, the Japanese culture. And I want to reiterate a point which we didn't talk about, which is building the College of Design is not about importing a kind of Western viewpoint of design or Western processes or approaches. We want to build a college based in the culture of the University of Tokyo, the culture of Tokyo, the culture of Japan, and the culture of the East Asian region. So that not only becomes an attractor, but also helps us in this region to strengthen and propose a new extension of the world of design that actually will have benefit to society. So I think Japan itself is the attraction, and that may include manga and sushi and all those elements, which we can't fault it. They're very exciting to the young generations out there. There is this mysterious appeal of Japan, and from a marketing perspective, everything is aligned to attract people. We just have to let them know we exist, I think.
Yeah, because I think the soft power of Japan is very potent right now. So is Korea. So I think that you can really optimize that.
Maybe there's just one extra thing I want to add, which is, we have a set of values, and we want to be the best, but in the Japanese sense of ambitious, we talk about ambitious humility. It's like being great, but not being loud about it. Just wanting to create really good work in a quiet, understated work that we know will have impact. Okay. So those sorts of values we're trying to create in the college that reflect great ambition and great things that we want to do, but borrowing from the Japanese culture.
Understand. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to pose a surprise question to you both. We did a lot of preparation, but surprise question. Miles, you are obviously not a Japanese person, if I'm not mistaken. What do you make of your appointment as dean of this new? Is it a statement? Is it just you're best qualified? Is it just coincidence? Maybe I can ask President Fujii as well. Is it because it seems like a signal, but I don't know. What do you think? Or maybe I should ask the president. I can ask you both.
Well, as I have said, so we started off this design initiative in the year 2015 or so. And then at a certain moment, we had kind of, that was a coincidence, I guess. But we had a kind of meeting, so they visited us in the summer of 2016 or so. Then at that time, we wanted to make some collaboration with the Royal College of Art, where he was at that time. And then, so we talked about setting up a kind of new design lab in our institute, and that was, where the whole story began. So that then, so we set up this design lab together. That was at the beginning. It was RC and IIS Tokyo Design Lab. And then that's all this design activity started. So then at some point I came to the headquarters and I left the institute. But then at some point we thought about this establishing a new education initiative, and at that time the Miles was there. The running this design lab at the Institute of Industrial Science.
So it was a natural progression.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Miles, how do you feel about that natural progression? Do you feel some focus because of
I didn't run away from the target quickly enough. That's how I feel. So I remember hearing the vision of the new college, and it was super exciting. Fujii Sensei asked me to be dean, and I said no. And the reason I said no is personally, I'm not interested in that kind of power, promotion, stepping up the ladder kind of thing. That's never been my goal. But I thought about it for a while, and after a while, Fujii Sensei came back and he said, "No, you have to be dean." And by that point, I thought, yes, I know I need to be dean because we need to deliver this vision. And if we go and hire someone else, they'll have maybe slightly a different interpretation of it, and we won't deliver it as such. So that's now my mission. It's like my mission is not to be dean and have a nice, office and that thing. I want to deliver that vision. It just takes me a while to get round to accepting the fact,
that you are in charge.
Yeah. That's my honest answer. Yeah.
With regards to launching a new faculty in Japan after 70 years, the first
70.
in 7 years, is that right? And the last one was, what was the last faculty?
Pharmaceutical science.
Pharmaceutical sciences.
It was 1958.
Right. So this is quite a landmark launch. Japan is obviously very traditional, entrenched in tradition, higher education, famously static in terms of growth or change. What are the biggest challenges from both of you in terms of launching a new faculty in Japan's most prestigious university?
Well, in many aspects.
Or is it everything
so many
and
things that we need to,
is it,
go through.
I'll ask you a question. What about buy-in from colleagues at the university or buy-in from other universities in Japan? Have you been surprised, or how do you feel?
I think, shall I answer? I think, so when the idea came up, I was expecting there be more resistance to change. But actually, I think everyone is excited about the idea. Some people can help. Some other people are busy and they're already at capacity. To deliver the curriculum, we depend on a huge amount of support from across the university. And even though we still have a year to go in development and many more years ahead before we really deliver the program at full capacity, we're getting great response. People are coming up and saying, we want to help. And that's wonderful because we absolutely need the university to help us do it. And that's the whole point, is it's not a new college on its own, but we depend on the help, and we want to give back in different kinds to support the university through design and creativity in interesting new ways.
President Fujii, any comment about realizing a vision?
Yeah. So it's, yes, positive side is, so nice.
Yeah.
And then also there's so many, too many new things around this college. So that we had to go through this, for example, 5-year integrated program to be approved, and also we need to come up with new ways of admission, and all these things should be also, should have some coherence with the existing system. So that is a sort of tough part of the the establishment. But I think we could be optimistic.
I always describe it as two different country space stations trying to dock. And we're now just feeling gently where the locking points, and we can engage. Right. But it takes time, but it's manageable.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know. And if I could back up a little bit in terms of the meaning of this new faculty, Japan's challenges are numerous. Do you feel that this indeed is a new model for Japanese universities to replicate? Often in Japan, if Todai is doing it, everybody else should do it. Do you feel that kind of sort of, I don't know what the word is, drive or?
I hope this could be the driver for this, the true kind of driver for the change in the Japanese higher education. Yeah. And the fall semester entry, and then it's a relatively large scale capacity, like 100 students, 100 cohort. And also do those new ways of admission. And then also everybody's living in the same place for the first year. And then,
well, they're all in the same dormitory.
Yeah, right, yeah. So like this way, it's kind of quite new things are around. But we hope this could be the new model for, not only for Japanese universities, but we hope this could, from Tokyo, we would like to, transmit or like
do you mean globally?
Send out all these new ideas of higher education. Yes.
What do you think, Miles?
Well, maybe just to add to that actually as we're talking to more people around the world, we're finding people with similar interests or starting little bit similar things. No one quite in the same way of the same ambition and scale and interaction across the whole university. That's not competition. I feel that's great. It means, yes, that we're riding, a similar expansion of the field of design, of the change of higher education. So I think it's great. It's like there's a movement that we can join, that we can have willing partners and collaborators in the future.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Just to add, so that there are so many different types of programs founded around the world for the interdisciplinary education or learning. And for example, like at MIT, they founded this new College of Computing, and also in the Berkeley, they have this computing, data science and society. And at NUS, they have also design and engineering and humanity and sciences and so on. So that this also could be, this new UTokyo College of Design will be also a new model for this interdisciplinary.
So you're hopeful that it'll be
too.
a
Right.
reference the way that you just referred to the other schools.
Right.
So, but one that comes from Asia, from
Right.
Japan, rather than the United States.
Exactly.
So, I have to ask the big bad question that everybody hates: the role of AI and design. Is AI going to interfere with the curriculum that you've so meticulously developed, or Miles, how are you going to teach alongside AI, or what's your view about how it's going to impact how the students are going to learn, or how you're going to teach?
It's inevitably going to be a huge impact, and I think the curriculum has to be like a flexible, very flexible to alter itself in the face of what's going to come. We can't even imagine what will exist in 2 or 3 years' time. But one thing I'm really excited about the use of AI is one of the challenges our students will have is they'll take classes that are kind of way above their understanding. They're fascinated about maybe gene editing, but they've never studied biology they've never studied biology. So how can they talk sensibly about the impact of gene editing on society without some fundamental knowledge? They don't need the whole pyramid of knowledge leading up to that expertise level, but they will need to backfill in their own time. And I think this is where AI comes in, like kind of custom-made courses that allows students to backfill on particular topics so that they can make a compelling argument. They're not experts in that field at all, but they know enough to make sensible responses in terms of solutions or proposals around those challenges. So I'm excited about.
So you're AI friendly, AI positive. That sounds kind of weird, but you're going to embrace AI. Is my point.
We have to, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Totally.
Well, actually, you don't have to. I don't know if you know, Berkeley Law has recently abolished AI use by law students.
Okay.
They can't even brainstorm with AI. I don't know how they're going to penalize that, but
how I feel about it is when I studied design, I drew in a pencil. I drew engineering drawings by pencil. Then CAD came along, and then 3D rendering came along, and then 3D printing came along. It's like, this is a huge change, but every time we go through these revolutions, there's arguments, pros and cons, but the technology doesn't go away, and you find the benefits of using it. Sorry,
a comment about AI, President
Right. So
Fujii?
given this situation with AI, so the things that we want to do with this college is kind of highlighting more than ever that what would be needed in the age of AI. So that I mean, the students should have what they want to do, and then how they want to do. Then they could, for example, ask about those ideas to AI, but I mean, discuss with AI. But in any case, they could come up with what they want to do, right, at the beginning. So that's the very important part of the thought that they want to proceed. So that in any case, this, I mean, ideas started from their own, and then how to proceed and coordinate the whole thing in a very practical way. So that is really important for them to have as an expertise in the age of AI. So it's
Absolutely.
So that it will be more so. So this importance of this kind of education will be more highlighted.
Got it. I'm sure there are people that have questions. Yes, right back there.
The number of students seems very small. It's starting from like 100 people. You were thinking to just expand it in the future and kind of make it the kind of core part of University of Tokyo in the future. Is that your grand vision?
Well, so for now, I'd like to go with this selectivity, because doing this type of education is, or setting up this kind of learning place, it's so important. Not so easy to open this up to 1,000 cohorts, so that we want to keep this size for now. But then in the future, so maybe we could think about expansion, but yes, that's my idea for now. Yeah. We don't want to make it bigger rapidly.
Yes.
So when I'm hearing that this design, maybe when you have a first graduate, probably nobody hires you, those students. So I think that it's very important to educate the industry side. So like, this internship is a very good thing, but not only just the student is learning, but the company side is really, should be learning what is the future of decision making and the design. So I think that is, you should, of course it, I guess, but that one should be implemented. That is what I thought. So the second one is that somehow for the internship that government, it was missing. Then I think that it's very important that, especially in Japan, that the government is so big, and then like all policies are really determined by government, not by the university. So that means I think that we have to really educate government too, right? So that means the government should be maybe they should send or you should send out those students to the government, and then somehow having a kind of joint program or whatever, educating the government side. So that is what I thought. So also the third point that it was a bit missing was that challenge, to really hire some very, high-profile professors from outside, cost a lot. So the salary difference is so big. So I'm working in the university in the US, so I know what the difference is, okay? So I think that is a very big challenge. So like I'm a chemist, so like in the department of chemistry in the University of Tokyo, hired one Canadian organic chemist. So actually, the department had to use 2 lines of faculty, professor to hire one person. So that kind of thing is, quite, maybe you didn't know it, but.
That's a very interesting point about faculty. Actually, Miles was mentioning that they actually got many, many applications from academics to be part of the program. Is that correct? Got thousands of applications.
Yeah, but I think that we, definitely a totally different salary.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It was a real. It is a real challenge, especially at the moment with the currency exchange rate, makes it even worse. And to be honest, at the moment, the faculty that are coming they're coming because of the vision of the college. So we've had all of them had that difficult conversation, and there's nothing we can do about it. The gap is too big. But what we have that's of value is a very unique experience and a very unique opportunity. So that at the moment is playing to our favour. But I wanted to go back to your other point about teaching companies and government. That's a really important point. And I'm thinking that at the moment we have one way of doing that, which is we want quite a relatively small core team and an ecosystem of other faculty coming from external sources. So corporates and government people can learn by coming to be advisors on the program and seeing things that are happening and then taking it back. That's not the only way, but thank you for that point, because I'm going to think more about how to do that.
Yeah. And just a comment about the faculty. Indeed, the faculty in the United States do get paid quite a lot of money, but you're probably aware there's a huge exodus of faculty now from the U.S. campuses because of the political climate in the United States. So it's not a perfect situation in the United States right now. I speak to a lot of faculty. The mood in higher ed in the United States is quite, if I may say the word, is quite grim. So anyway, just an overall comment. I'm sure everybody's aware.
In fact, in our system, we could increase the stipend. And then if we have the sufficient financial background. So then that's why we are working on all these fundraising around the world. So that's one thing. And also for the educating industry, so this is also a new thing. So currently, especially in Japan, so universities educating people, and then when they graduate, they just give it to the industry. And the industry is saying that this is not fitting, this person is not fitting to our business, or something like that is happening. But for this one, we want to have some more overlapping areas in between industry. And this can include all these, for example, international organizations or even maybe government. Yes, so that they, from the year 2, second year, they are working on this Changemaker project. But Changemaker project, in the Changemaker project, all these people from industries largely, included in the activity. So that they are even coming over to our campus and then working together with our students. So that, like this, so we're trying to expand the area of overlapping in between the university students and industry. So with that, we could also educate the young talent in industry too. So that we could also let their management understand the importance of this activity. So
That's a great point. Okay, so there are 2 questions back there. Yep.
Very exciting. Sees the world through design, then change it. Congratulations for the achievement. And my question, Professor Fujii in some way answered it, but we are looking for a certain result. What are the indications that we are getting the result we are looking for? Do we have to wait 5 years or maybe shorter? Perhaps, so I'm very curious.
That's a great question. Are there any answers on the panel?
Well, maybe 2. Like in the shorter term, hopefully the program itself will start to ripple out across the university and externally, and already, just the idea of it is having impact. So, yeah, our mission is also to help people see a different way of education. So we do need to engage with the public and educational sector from day one. So hopefully, not too far. We don't have to wait 5 years for the educational side to be starting to have impact. Of course, we'd like people to be a bit patient, maybe, because there's many things to get right. In terms of longer term impact, the project students will do. Hopefully, they will have real impact on society, but that is a long-term game. So, yes, we do. I feel it's like in 20 years' time, we're looking back at the impact of our students. We'll measure, how much impact and change and transformation they've had. So it's a different sort of time frame, I think. But I'm personally looking forward to retiring and just watching the students do amazing things. So, yeah.
There's a question over there. Yep.
Dean Pennington, thank you for the great presentation. The program is certainly very unconventional, creative, well thought out. with all those different modules in the 5-year curriculum, I have a very concrete question. How will the students be graded? Do they have letter grades or GPA, or what kind of a transcript do they have? That would be probably necessary, but I'm very curious to know. Thank you.
Yeah, very good question, and still being discussed, to be honest. My personal opinion is I'd love to see that a proper full spectrum of grading being used, and not moving toward, there's a lot of grade creep in higher education these days where everyone gets an A. I think it's not useful for students. I think grading needs to, we need to think the use of a grade is for the student to reflect on their own position. It's not a reward. It's like them to understand how much they've learned and where they want to go and what they need to do to get there. On the other hand, there are many things where we don't want to create a culture of grade chasing either. It's not about the grades. At the end of the day, I'd love it for the students to know, okay, they've successfully got a degree, but that's okay, that's done. Right now I need to move on and actually create some change in society. So moving away from, this is the important point. We're looking for people who really want to do the program. They don't want just the brand name on their CV. They don't just want the degree on their CV. They want to study the program to learn how to do something and then utilize it in the rest of their life. So maybe the grades at the end of the day don't matter.
Yeah. Even they could already do something during these 5 years and then start up something or do some social activities, in a way. So that would be really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one more question before we, yes?
Last but not least, could you possibly share your strategy to attract international high school students, if you have?
The strategy to recruit attract, international high school.
Yeah, international high school students.
So we are in fact reaching out to many, high schools and also the high school organizations, internationally. And then also trying to use all these social medias for promotion. So, yeah.
And I know that you're based in Boston, so maybe
she
would be a great resource. I think that was well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Maybe you got a closing comment from both President Fujii and Miles before we close the session. Any comments?
Maybe just from me, it's just to reiterate that we're not trying to create a kind of academic bubble. The whole concept of the college depends on connectivity inside the university and externally and internationally. So I would like to say thank you very much for coming to listen to us on a Saturday. We'd love to say that this is the start of collaboration and connection. We really depend on support from very wide network. So thank you, and looking forward to future conversations and challenges. Please challenge us. We need to be stress tested as we move forward. So thank you.
Everywhere.
President Fujii, any comments?
So I think just to add, so now the 21st century is the age or era of individuals. And then before, in the 20th century, it was more like industrialization of it, and also in the mass manufacturing, mass production, mass-produced things from the from the top. So everything's basically determined by the supply side. But now it's so everyone knows what they want individually. So that it's a kind of from the bottom up, and then so in this kind of age, it's so important to think about those individuals, what they want to do, what's the demand. So it's a kind of demand side, needs that we want or they want to catch. Otherwise, so if you set up kind of good international rules for example, regulating sustainability, but no one, follows, right? So that we need to think about all these individuals, attitude or viewpoint to be able to change the society. So that's the also very important aspect of design. So that is my thought. So that we hope we like to see such kind of, the real change in the coming years. Thank you so much.
So, 頑張りましょう。
はい、頑張りましょう。
Thank you very
and
much.
also special thanks to President Hibino
Yeah, thank you.
for joining us tonight.
Thank you for coming.